Another episode of Leading Crypto on this fabulous Thursday, going into some weekend price action here as we finish up. Oh, wow, it's Friday, actually. So we're actually really going into some weekend price action. I missed yesterday's episode, unfortunately. So if you are ready to get down on some Bitcoin analysis, we got the S&P 500, Ethereum, might take a look at Solana, some order flow and open interest, the recent trades, a couple of updates from yesterday's video with Magic and Max. Then be sure to stick around for this entire video, like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. We do bring this to you Monday through Friday, 10-ish a.m. to 10:15 Eastern. And we try to get you the best updates wrapped around a little bit of news, but realistically, and the news to us is just the reason why after the move is done. So let's just jump right into it. It's a crisp 50 degrees here in Fort Myers, Florida. I know that it's a nice, lovely day over there in Kansas City. Dubai's looking great. So throw your chapstick on if you got it. And we're all ready for the number one question, which is Magic and Max. How's your No Shave November going?
You can see Max's is going phenomenal. Look at that.
It's the most hair I've ever had on my face.
It's thick. I mean, what's
delicious. Oh my God. It's the camera zoom for me, man. Like, just get in there.
Yeah, that's a good laugh this morning. That and the 10-ish a.m. comment, that one got me. Yeah, so not much has changed other than it's just really, really cold here in Kansas. So as I alluded to previously, the Bitcoin price is as hot as Kansas right now. But we'll jump into the chart real quick here, and we'll take a look. We'll recap what we talked about yesterday for anyone that wasn't here, and even if you were, it's always good to go back over this type of thing. You're looking at this as some form of a pennant. I think the 4-hour probably gets it best. Is how everyone was viewing it. Gold pocket above, which everybody and their dog was waiting for, including myself. Right, and you had something like this going on, and you can see that technically, if you're going by the candle bodies, you didn't actually break out yet. Although you did get a move up, I don't know. CBO, you're the pattern expert. Would you count that as a break?
It's that's the thing about patterns is that they're very
keep moving that line as long as you want.
Yeah, it's
trade patterns, guys.
Moving goalpost for sure.
We talked about the idea yesterday of getting a move up anyway. We said that if you were looking for shorts, you need to be patient. You had to wait for that move up. You did get a move up. It only went to about 16.9. You left an NPOC up there from the Asia session. And so it was a move up. How could you have gotten in on a short on it? We were looking for something like this. However, it really kind of just didn't rally. You could have gotten a short, though, or traded it accordingly. If you're just tracking your ranges appropriately, you know that I preach this constantly in the group. Always talking about why we track the ranges the way we do, and this gave you the rotation for the week. And essentially, it's just range to range. Take profit as the point of control. Next take profit can be like the gold pocket or the value area low, however you want to do it. Move your stop loss to break even. Were there any triggers to get into this short? There always are. This is something I was on about in the group last night. This is the previous day regression for us. Absolutely beautiful here. Look at that. It's gorgeous. You had a Dalton in play. And so this wasn't, I said it when we were moving up, I said it's really not relevant until it is. And when did it become relevant? Well, the previous day high was lost. So you went above the previous day high, you gave it back up right here, and then down you go back into the previous day range. Previous day point of control, front range just a little bit, but that's realistically, you're pretty close to it at that point. What did we get down to? $563.50. You're within $13. I'm going to count that as a tap. But kind of a tough, I wouldn't say tough trade. It was just one of those where, the volume's just been so dead. And Max had a really interesting conspiracy about it. And, I might let him go off on a rant on that here in a little bit for a little filler. But volume has just been absolutely horrifically slow. When I went over to EXO charts, you could go to EXO and, pull up all kinds of, pieces of information. And I track things based on the millions versus time, but I do track the time that it takes to get these candles. And I mean, you're talking about coming into this where you had 44-minute candles to fill a 5 million 5 million volume candle, not even delta volume, 39, 33, 41. Whereas what you're wanting to see are things like under 10 minutes down to even seconds in some case, like right here at the top. So that's what you'd be looking for. It's just been, if you weren't sitting right at your computer, there were no entry triggers, outside of when it occurred. So, Max, I think you appropriately called this yesterday, where you said that if you get above the daily open, you get that move, you get those people that are going to get squeezed out. However, it's a weak move, and it looks like that is playing out to a T. So I am going to turn it over to you because there's really not much else to go off of other than what are our high time frame levels? Like, are there any high time frame levels that we need to be aware of? I would say you come over to like your daily time frame, and you can start seeing these closures here that haven't been tested. You start seeing these lost right around like 16,300. I think that is time to start considering that you're gonna make a new low, and this is a low we've been talking about. That it is a weak low, and we expect it to be taken. We don't know when that's going to happen. We just know that at some point Bitcoin will be coming back down for that move, most likely. So, it's on our radar. You set your alerts and you take the trades when they're available. Unfortunately, Bitcoin is doing its best to chop around here and not give us the levels that we really want to trade from. And that's part of it sometimes. And that goes down to being patient and not just trading to trade. So hopefully that is something everyone is kind of doing and not finding themselves in like positions that aren't just going anywhere, and then you're just sweating it the whole time going, am I going to get stopped out? What's going to happen? I will turn it over to Maxwell.
Sure. Hopefully you guys can all hear myself better than you could hear Magic. I know I couldn't really hear him, but I got a gauge of most of what he was saying. So, we said you got to get above the previous day open in yesterday's stream, and you did. But for those that know how to look at order flow, you could see that the move up was very weak. You had a huge decreasing open interest, which is a sign of shorts effectively closing out. What you need to see to really claim the level is buyers become interested, hold the area, and help push you higher. And we didn't really get that at all. Instead, we got an attempt here. Again, the break, if we're looking at this high, was on decreasing open interest again, and the volume was complete. It was awful compared to the volume that you had initially. It's not always the best way to look at it when you're thinking, oh, this volume compared to this high, but you can kind of get some gauge of it. And it was really important actually this type of thing because you want to see the volume come in on the break. Okay, that's one thing you want to see. This, okay, maybe it's an anomaly. The fact we've had 31 million, that was the highest volume candle of yesterday, or it was actually today. If you're looking at the time, this is actually today. But it was the highest volume candle by far from all the candles we had yesterday. Anyway, so the next attempt up, another decrease in open interest, and the volume was really awful. Swing failure pan, I would say this one was a very difficult one to trade if you were looking at the order flow. The way that I would actually, the way I took a trade from it was we called out in the group, I haven't got my Discord up here, but I called out in the group that I will be looking for my weekly open target, which has been, the trade that I want to take. And at this point, I'm now like, if we even get there, is it going to be a good trade? Because it's front run it so many times that, is it really going to be a good trade when you get there? Well, you have to look at the order flow when you get there. But anyway, we called it in this section. That's what I'm going to be looking for, a loss of the previous day high. And then when we came up for the third attempt, effectively, volume was abysmal, open interest was awful. You really had no reason to, no breakout traders had a reason to buy here. And instead, when you made your way back in, it was a lower high. You had your selling imbalances. And from there, it literally just fell apart. It really did. So you're at the weekly value area high as well, which is the area that Magic was saying to look at. The fact that you lost it and failed to get back above it was really the only possible trade I have seen today, unless you're trading the shorts from the view ups, in which case I salute you. But yeah, there's literally been nothing else. The trend has started to pick up a little bit, but as you can see, the delta has only really started to go down in this last hour or so. And I would argue that the open interest hasn't really done anything. So it's hard to really pick apart right now which way this is going to go. Of course, we are in the previous day value area, but have we seen a ton of shorts opening here showing a sign of strength for the Dalton to take place. Which, if you're not going off the candle closures, you have to wait for a sign of strength. And a sign of strength is open interest increasing with shorts, for this one in particular, is shorts opening. So you want to see open interest increasing, volume increasing, and heavy negative delta. And we have none of that. So right now, it's a difficult one to really trade. The one thing that I will say is the fact you've failed to reclaim the areas that we were bouncing from earlier does make it more likely, but that is the daily open. So if we can get back above there and then buyers become interested, okay, maybe we're not going to get the Dalton, but if shorters get interested, then I see no reason why we can't complete this today. It would make no sense not to, at least to the previous point of control. It's not really that far. But yeah, volume's abysmal. If we look at TPO, it's exactly the same as it was yesterday. Exactly the same as it was yesterday. Really balanced day, I guess. There's really nothing to talk about. So it's really difficult to try and piece things together. And the conspiracy that I was thinking was, of course, all the exchanges are now doing proof of reserves. Okay. So if they're all doing proof of reserves, but maybe they don't have the reserves, they've taken the capital from all their bots that effectively provide the liquidity to the market to then put into their cold wallets for this proof of reserve. And that's why the volume is just absolutely abysmal. Obviously, the market's scared. But then if they've thought, shit, we've not got the liquidity, we need to take it from our trading bots that have been providing all the volume and put it back, that'll be why it's so dead. Hang on my tin hat.
What could go wrong?
But, why not? It's why the price is...
Love a good conspiracy.
That conspiracy ends with me jumping off my roof if that exchange goes under. So,
yeah, we really don't want to lose Bybit. like the industry as a whole.
I'm not worried about Bybit, honestly, but it's a really interesting way to look at it, that maybe that is what they're doing. And that would make sense because the volume has been,
it's so bad. I've never seen it this bad.
They said they were going to do proof of reserves. And I don't know if it's because the whole space got spooked or what, but ever since they did the proof of reserves thing, like volume has just been gone. So that is actually a pretty valid conspiracy theory, I think. Alex Jones would definitely approve. So
the second part of it was they've leveraged consumers' money and then now it's all been withdrawn. They've got to kind of hold still into the party. They've got the capital in the bots and they've had to withdraw it all. So they've kind of had to replace all the withdrawals with the capital in the bots. But that's the second part, which is a bit. I like the first part way more. I don't like it, but I was like, oh yeah, maybe that's the reason. Maybe I need to send it to BitBoy, see what he says.
Oh God, dude, he's on one. Not to derail the conversation, it's more of a relaxed Friday stream. But have you seen some of his tweets? Do you follow him at all? I know you're on Twitter. I just know that I don't know if you follow him.
They come through because if you're
he's recommended. They get a lot of engagement.
I think the last one I saw was him going to wrestle him or take him down, questioning about his wife.
Has like a hog tie rope. He said he's going to take his rope that he hog ties with, which I don't think he's probably hog tied anything in his life. But he said the only thing keeping him from going there is his 5'2" brunette wife or whatever. I was like, come on, bro. But I mean, if it was him versus Sam, I like his odds in that fight. That I'll give him the nod. I'll give almost anyone the nod. To be honest with you. Yeah, so maybe we'll get something interesting out of that after all.
Can't wait. Speaking of conspiracy, which, I mean, there's probably some validity to it in a sense as well. I put the title today as the record number of Bitcoin inflows to exchanges, right? Because it gets a lot of attention. Outflows, inflows, definitely a we want to look at that as almost like an on-chain viewpoint for, the idea of a big dump or a big pump. And, the statistics behind that have to be garbage, but it is something that, I think that does spook a lot of people when you start seeing it. I will say that obviously. What's that?
You'd have thought it'd have brought some volume, all this money coming onto the exchanges. Please. Bring it
by
all
all
back.
means, by all means, come sell your crypto. Yeah.
Especially in volatility.
Right. It's very interesting. Someone in the group had brought it up yesterday, asking like, what the thoughts are on it and this and that. And it really is just, that's, to me, it's just something that, and I'm sure Magic can agree, and Max, that you just kind of have to take that for what it's worth. I mean, it's really just a triggered indicator that every person in the space sees on Twitter, 30 times a day. And
What was the
what
old
amount of
alert?
Bitcoin, what's that?
Whale alert? In the old alert, the whale alert.
Yeah,
That was
essentially
whale
it's
alert.
pretty
Yeah.
much that. There's a new one called Quant alerts or something like that. And it alerts you when, things happen. And, just to kind of be, on the same page there, is that, we do anticipate that low to get taken. Right. So, I mean, it's the journey on how to get there is what you really want to kind of, concern yourself with. And if your only vision, or if you're getting, blinded by, like days like yesterday where you had this huge pump come in, not a huge pump, but small move, but, some volatility compared to anything else we saw this week. But something that we were prepared for as far as the the chart that we had set up in our strategy, our plan in place, had alluded to, as we said, we were looking for a move to the upside before we come back down, things of that nature. You could kind of blind yourself out by just assuming that we're only going straight down from this moment, and that could be a week from now, that could be 2 weeks from now.
Technically, nothing's broken yet. I mean,
Right.
you're still doing okay. All you've done is swung fail some lows from yesterday that were hanging out just above the pivot. In my opinion, you've filled in the POC. So I mean, this could still do some stuff. It's just you get tired of waiting, man. It's just the market's just not moving like it used to a little bit. So having to be a little bit more patient here and make sure that we're not, doing anything rash. Like just because it didn't hit our target, it's not a good reason to FOMO into a short, thinking it's going to go lower. So you still got to be patient and wait and see what comes of it. But yeah.
Definitely smash the likes for Batman and for Crypto Justice if you haven't done so quite yet.
Hand in hand.
Yeah, the Magic Internet Money Starter Kit is definitely one thing I think I want to put together and kind of offer up over the holiday season. It's going to be a Batman shirt, a Neil Diamond shirt, a case of chapstick, as well as
Isaac for the win. No.
We'll throw in a couple of vapes just to kind of give you that Dubai feeling from the vape god. But yeah, so interesting to know. And we're running into the weekend. And one of the biggest things I love about going into a weekend after a week like this is a lot of people call it, and I used to do as well. It's like the Saturday pumps equals Sunday dumps, right? And a lot of the times when you see something like that, I'll kind of showcase what I mean, but it's like Sundays for rotating the range. It's like that's another little saying that kind of we throw around sometimes, because it's at times you'll get a decent move up on the weekend after some low volume on Saturday specifically, before the CME opens, and what you end up doing is just running to the range high for the week that you're in, your developing week, and then a Sunday comes up and we just basically run it right back down to the low. And you rotate your range back in full, come back down, basically open back up where you close on Friday. It does offer up some opportunity over the weekend, and institute some FOMO as well. So something like that, definitely in the cards here. But looking at Ethereum, go ahead.
I'll keep this really quick. There was a good question from OC. Why must the low be taken? Isn't that how we get NPOCs? We leave stuff behind. We're actually not going off an NPOC there. That is, if you watched, Max, what video did you cover the TPO in? Was it just the TPO video that you had like basically how to identify a weak or a strong low or high? Is that in the Academy?
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember which video specifically, but it is in there. And so what you're doing is you're going over and you're actually looking at the tail of the move, essentially the bottom or the top, and whatever instance you're using, and you're judging to see if it's a strong move or not. And the one we got off the current low was not, meaning we would expect to come back to it and take it. It's just one of those things where it's likely to be taken eventually. It's just we don't know when. We just know that if price starts giving us a trigger, that's going to be a target for us. And then the trade is, can we swing fail the low? So I would expect it to be taken eventually. It's just a matter of when the price is done doing what it's doing right here in the middle of the range. And as you know, we don't diddle in the middle, so it is it's on to other trades when they're available, and on to Ethereum.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna put some chapstick on over here. I'm getting frostbite here in Florida. Ethereum, yeah. So similar as Bitcoin right now, right? So it's very low time frame, moves right now that are somewhat beneficial in the short term here. So just kind of going over what we were what I usually talk about in the group, which is some of the shorter term opportunities here. Similar to Bitcoin, had a really nice run to the previous day high. Right, got the wick right above. Obviously, you don't want to preset for these for this exact reason, right? This is a really big. What happened to my screen here, boys?
I was getting ready to ask the same thing. I went to type in the chat. I think that changed it because I was.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we ran it up to the previous day high once again. This is why you want to just set alerts, right? This could have easily just blew right through. You did have a nice push higher. So anybody that, just preset for a short right here might've got stopped out right away, which is never fun, right? Because you get stopped out right before the actual move comes underway. We were looking for that possible Dalton on Bitcoin. You did have the untapped, the untapped key level was on Bitcoin, not on Ethereum. But for ETH, coming back down to the previous day value area high was a nice TP, basically 2, because you had the sorry, choking. VWAP would have been your 1. Previous day value area high would have been 2. Coming into your point of control for me was my overall take profit on this just short-term move, super intraday, stop loss above the high. Took this here, just posted in the group actually. Right there. So entered at 1227, out at 1202, just small. I mean, 9x is not terribly small, but it wasn't a crazy 20, 30, 40, 50x. But 18% on the day, right? To literally just eat up a piece of price action that we are not even anywhere that we weren't basically this time yesterday. So there's always an opportunity in the short term. Obviously, you want to have your higher time frame strategies as well, your mid to long term holds. But now we're doing, pretty much the same thing, just pretty much nothing. Bouncing around previous day highs, getting it once again. At the moment, if you start living back inside this range, I would imagine, so that's back below 1212, then we're going to look to rotate back down to about 1192, possibly back down to the 1181 low. Once again, we're coming into the weekend. So, volume has been terrible. It might be just as bad over the weekend, or you might get a decent little push on into Saturday and then pull back on Sunday, right? That's the idea. With that idea, I'll look at the developing week here, right? So go ahead and turn off all this and just kind of look at it in this case. And one of those things I want to point out is the high, or the value area high at least comes in about 1250. So, that's a pretty decent little run up, about 3-4%. You'd be getting a little move out of Bitcoin, a little excitement over the weekend, right? If that was the case, really nothing, would be getting done until we really break out of that region. But if you were to see something like that over the weekend, right? A lot of times we get this little move where you do that and then you come right back down. And then by Sunday, you're starting to make this move down here as the CME reopens, things of that nature. That's when you get that Saturday pump equal to Sunday dump, and all you're really doing is rotating the range. And if you haven't noticed by now, this current weekly range, which is about to end in a couple of days, right? You're getting that lowercase b, which is indicative. Give this quick little face. It's indicative of a drop lower, right? So we're still anticipating. This is why you got your short-term plan, you got your your mid to long-term plan here. We're still anticipating these lower levels here. If we get the triggers for them once again, 1100 and this 1038, 1037, it's 1031 on Coinbase. So give or take where it's at, right? These two to me are some decent bounce opportunities, in this one specifically. So this 1038 is a big one in my opinion. So we'll obviously observe the reaction when we get there, but if we get there, and then see how things play out. But yeah, going into the weekend, that's kind of what I'd be looking for out of ETH as far as any upside. You break through this 1250 and start closing and running up, then you might have a shot here at moving on up and out of this. Looking at the higher time frame range that we've been in for quite a while. you can see we are just diddling in the middle. I got some real slow speed here on the internet today too. So very similar to Bitcoin too, right? You got some, some pennants, some triangles, whatever you want to make out of this down here. You got that going on, right? So it's technically, this one's not really broken out. I mean, in my opinion, I suppose you are under this point of control still really, really heavily, right? So 1221 is really the area you want to be above in the short term and be living above that. We've really been grinding it out around that region. So not the best look, basically consolidating right below resistance. So to me, that really does point that we're going to at least come down and get to these two levels we've been looking for. That would be a pretty decent, decline, 15% out of ETH. It's probably going to push Bitcoin in the same region. That's probably going to give us that, new low if we get it with Bitcoin. And as far as upside, really just looking for this 1222 at the moment to get claimed, right? Get this breakout to the upside. You really got a really big region up here. You want to see, living back above in a short term. If you really wanted to, roll the dice, you could take a position and kind of roll it up, try to run this move here, because this is like 20%. So, I mean, once again, that's why the diddle in the middle story, right? Because if you're not already positioned either from a short up high or a sell out and you're looking to buy back in and lower, you really run the risk of two areas here, about 15 to 20% away from us. So it's comes down to, your risk management, the amount of time you can spend, around, your trading, if you're actively, just picking up things as a DCA basis, things of that nature. So big move is coming though. I imagine we're going to see something next week. It is Thanksgiving week too. So it's usually when Bitcoin likes to, unleash, so everybody can either gloat at the Thanksgiving table or hide from their families for pitching it a year ago. Solana is another one. I've touched on it a couple times last week or two. Actually, I touch on it quite often. I think the Solana, still got a place in the world. Even though everybody's really counting it out, it could very well go to zero, I suppose. But I'm, taking the risk on it not. And just looking at this in a shorter time frame here, previous week range, quarterly key level, which was originally untapped. This was our area we were looking for the target on the way down. Obviously, this is where we're rooting around for quite a while. So 1250, I think that, we got another chance of coming down to this region, maybe even wicking down, taking out these lows. And then we got a nice opportunity for a move up if had, right? If you get the reclaim back into 1250, got the point of control, which is also your quarterly key level as well. So this is a big area right here. So in a short term, more confirmation, you really want to see that area reclaimed. So basically $14. And then from there, I got a nice untapped weekly here that I'm targeting. So from where we are now, that's a 48% move. If you get it off the val, you're talking about 57% move. And realistically, this is just a nothing target. This is just short-term average of price. I would just imagine that, this would just be a short-term play for me, even in spot. I mean, that's a 57% move. You're not going to lose sleep over, unless this just goes to zero, of course. But hopefully, you'll protect yourself in other fashions. But yeah, I mean, it's been a week of not too much. We go. It's kind of like in the world where you get decades where nothing happens, and then you get a year where decades happen. It's the same in crypto. We get weeks and weeks on end where you just kind of get these small little nibbles of excitement or lulls, and then you get days where just extreme moves occur. Yeah, I think that's about all I got. So
I was entertaining myself in the chat. I was listening though. I agree. I was kind of was seeing the rhetoric because the Fed, parts of the board speak almost every day. And someone asked Kashkari about cryptocurrency because of everything that's going on. His comments were that crypto is merely a tool for speculation and greater fools, and that the entire concept of crypto is nonsense. So it is safe to say that the Federal Reserve does not like cryptocurrency. They're releasing their own version of cryptocurrency in terms of a US dollar. So I would imagine this stance isn't surprising to anyone, but interesting to see. I don't know if that bodes well or not. I know they don't make policy like in terms of laws. So that's probably a good thing. But if anyone else is sharing those opinions or looking at that, in terms of lawmakers, it's probably not going to bode well for a lot of the securities. We'll just call them what they are out there. So, and now Ethereum is one.
Just need XRP to get listed, man, and we're back in action. I know that that's really what we're all waiting for here.
That's what I'm waiting for, so that I can retire.
I got 100 XRP, and I'm just ready for the move.
I was told I only need like 100.
That's it, man. You only need 100.
Someone flip the switch, please.
Every time I hear that, I just think of that Drake song when everybody was doing that, like the light on and off for the TikToks back in COVID time.
Do it. I just get up and dance.
Yeah, that's all I think about.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's kind of a slow Friday. These are generally just roundups because going into the weekend, weekend volume seems to come kind of early these days. So what is going on over here?
Little flip about there.
Shapeshifter the switch.
You're just having fun with it. But, you guys can let us know in the chat which view you like the most, like how you like our heads positioned.
I think that the mobile one is the best. Oh, can't.
Yeah.
Damn.
Is that the one where we're all like in a line?
Just stacked up, yeah, like really small.
Kind of like the Brady Bunch. Anyway, yeah. No, I mean, Fridays, I don't normally trade weekends because it's just, you run into situations like we just had all week where the volume is just atrocious. The moves aren't really that great. Now, occasionally you'll get a trending move on a weekend, but it's usually with the trend, meaning that you're not going to gap up more than likely and never come back when you've just been in a massive downtrend the whole time. So the likelihood of a trending move is pretty heavily skewed to the downside if one was to occur, but I think we're probably in for a boring weekend, unfortunately.
I've noticed that Saturdays have been really dead as of late as well. If there's any move, it's come on Sunday. Saturdays have just been like super dry. So
we're like all contradicting ourselves.
Sunday has been all right though. When markets open back up, it seems like Sundays have been decent.
I mean, Sundays have been all right for trading, but Saturdays have just been like, just walk away.
So you know what that means, guys. As much as we love you, 1, we won't be live, and 2, go outside. Unless it's cold where you live, like it is where I live, don't go outside. Max can go get some sun. Like I don't know.
Look how white I am.
Yeah, he lives in Dubai, and look at this dude's tan. It's glorious.
It's the blue light. It doesn't help, but yes, I need to see some sunshine.
Change his name in the chat to Milk, because like
it's the Milkman Max.
Yeah.
We got MIM and we got MMM, Milkman Max. I think I like that better. Awesome. Yeah, that's about all we got. So we'll be interested to see how the weekend unfolds. You got 3 different ideas for how it'll go, So we got, like I said, I was like, we sound like we're contradicting each other, but like, I mean, realistically, the weekends are pretty flat. And I bring the idea of like, sometimes you get the Saturday pumps, and a lot of times it's in altcoins more than anything. You'll get a small move out of Bitcoin, but it'll really stay pretty stagnant. And then, so that's probably why Max is,
You have to read Isaac's comment.
Burr milk.
That's gold. Isaac for the win today.
I think that's the Twitter handle, Max. 1,000%. You got to throw up the Twitter handle. I got to add you on that.
Twitter and everything. If he doesn't want to run it, I will. But Burr milk needs to be a thing.
If he doesn't want to run it, I will. Yeah, you got to put the Bitcoin B as the B. So that'll be
put it on the back of a milk carton.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Yeah, go outside, touch some snow, and we'll see you all back here bright and early on 10 a.m. Eastern Monday morning. For anybody that's in the group or interested in joining the Leading Crypto Discord server, we do 2 exclusive member-only market updates weekly. We do that Wednesday night and Sunday night after the weekly close, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We do it live. You can ask questions, jump in there with anything, and it's also recorded for anybody to watch back at a later date. If you are interested in that, like I said, the information is in our information box below. Aside from that, have a great afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you're on this beautiful world. Enjoy your weekend, and let's get some Thanksgiving movement here next week. Till next time, everybody.